the court. Your honors, opposing counsel, members of the jury. Parenting comes with responsibility, and Hayden Duran failed to be responsible. As you've heard throughout today's trial, it is a parent's job to teach their child right from wrong. Hayden Duran failed to teach these fundamental and essential concept to Jesse. Jesse still viewed guns as toys and something to be played with. This speaks volumes about the disregard and carelessness shown by Hayden Duran when it came to her daughter's gun obsession. She was told again and again about this extremely dangerous problem, continued to disregard it. In fact, she continued to purchase Jesse the violent video games that further increased her obsession with these guns. Jesse was 11 years old, an age at which children are very impressionable and are building the moral foundation and codes that will stick with them for the rest of their lives. They adopt what they're taught from the adults in their lives and from what they see. This is not an age where children should be exposed to this type of violence. Yet, that didn't stop Hayden Duran from not only allowing, but supporting Jesse's obsession with guns. Hayden Duran did not properly teach Jesse of the dangers of guns, nor did she properly instill into her the real-life repercussions of using a gun. This is not only a case of an 11-year-old child shooting another, but of a parent who failed in her duties. Hayden Duran failed to teach Jesse the dangers of guns, and because of that, an 11-year-old girl is dead. As a plaintiff in today's case, we bear the burden of proof. We have to prove to you, by preponderance of the evidence, our burden. By preponderance of the evidence simply means 50% in a feather's weight, meaning we had to prove to you that it was more likely than not that Hayden Duran was negligent in her duty as a parent to ensure that her child did not pose an unreasonable risk of body harm to another. To meet this burden, we had 4 elements to prove to you today. The first is that the parent knew or should have known of the need to prevent the child from creating an unreasonable risk of body harm to another. The second was that the parent failed to exercise reasonable control of the child. The third was that the child acted in a way that was reckless, negligent, or intentional. And the fourth was that the death of Sydney Park was a direct and proximate cause of the acts or omissions of both Hayden and Jesse Duran. Now, let me begin with the first element, that the parent knew or should have known of the need to prevent the child from creating an unreasonable risk of body harm. This simply means that due to Jesse's past history with violence and gun obsession, that Hayden should have known that allowing Jesse to be in that house with Sydney alone, with a gun in the house, would create an unnecessary harm to Sydney. Now, earlier, Campbell Solo came before you and confirmed that Hayden knew of the Parks revolver. And she also came before you and spoke of Jesse's past disciplinary actions. Now, Hayden also most certainly knew of Jesse's gun obsession, as Campbell Solo also showed her the picture of the child that she drew of her shooting animals and people. Now, Hayden Duran also knew of Jesse's obsession with violent video games because she purchased them herself. Now, all these factors should have led Hayden Duran to not allow Jesse to be in the house along with Sydney. Now, second element we have to prove to you today, that the parent did not have reasonable control of the trial. In this case, simply means that Hayden Duran did not properly teach Jesse of the dangers of guns. And because of that, Jesse pulled the trigger that day. killing Sydney. Now, earlier, you heard from Campbell Solo that Jesse received a disciplinary note that Hayden Duran had to sign. She did not punish Jesse for this. When Jesse brought home the picture of her and her gun, she hung it on the fridge. Now, this shows to you that she did not properly punish Jesse for her actions, nor did she take away her violent video games after these actions. Now, this, on top of a lack of the teaching of gun safety, showed that she did not have reasonable control of Jesse, and because of that, Jesse killed Sydney Park. Now, third and only I have to prove to you today that the child acted in a way that was negligent, reckless, or intentional is proven by Jules Sebastian, the forensic expert on the scene. She did a fingerprint analysis test that revealed that Jesse had prints on both the gun itself and of the empty shell casing in the Parks revolver. She also came before you and spoke of a gunshot residue test that she did. Now, this gunshot residue test determined that Jesse had a large concentration of gunshot residue on both of her hands and on her shirt. From these tests, she determined that Jesse shot the gun with her arm outstretched and that she loaded the gun herself. Now, for my final element, that Sydney Park's death was a direct and proximate result of both the acts or omissions of Hayden and Jesse Duran. Well, through Jules Sebastian, we just proved to you that Jesse's act was most certainly the direct and proximate cause of the harm suffered to Sydney Park. Now, as for Hayden Duran, let me ask you this. Would the child, a parent who wasn't negligent in the teaching of gun safety, play a game like this? Would that child load a gun and fire it at her best friend? Hayden Duran did not properly teach Jesse gun safety, and because of that, Sydney Park is dead. Because parenting comes with responsibility, and Hayden Duran failed to be responsible. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Any closing arguments from the defense?
Yes, Your Honors.